Greenland is a place that does not shout for attention, yet it commands it silently, like a giant sleeping beneath ice and sky, watching humanity rush forward while it remains anchored in deep time. When most people hear the name Greenland, they imagine endless white emptiness, a frozen nothing at the top of the world. But that idea could not be more wrong. Greenland is not empty. It is ancient, alive, and profoundly human. Beneath its vast ice sheet lies a land older than memory itself. A place where mountains were formed before trees learned how to grow, where silence carries more weight than sound, and where survival has shaped culture more deeply than any empire ever could. Greenland is not merely a destination, it is a test of perspective. Here, the rules of modern life feel fragile, even temporary, against the permanence of glaciers that have survived countless climate cycles, extinctions, and revolutions. To travel through Greenland is to confront questions most places never ask you. How little do we truly need? How powerful is nature when untouched? And how small are human ambitions when placed against an ice cap that holds enough frozen water to reshape the planet's future? This is not a story of luxury or convenience. This is the story of endurance, adaptation, and identity, carved from ice, wind, and ocean. Greenland does not invite you in easily, but once it does, it never truly lets you go. Greenland sits at the crossroads of continents, oceans, and history. Suspended between North America and Europe, Arctic ice, and Atlantic waters, ancient indigenous traditions, and modern geopolitical ambition. Though politically connected to Denmark, Greenland is geographically and culturally its own world entirely. Covering more than 2 million square kilometers, it is the world's largest island, yet home to fewer than 60,000 people, making it one of the most sparsely populated places on Earth. Nearly 80% of Greenland is buried beneath a colossal ice sheet, a frozen giant that defines everything from climate patterns to settlement locations. Along the edges of this icy heart, life clings to narrow coastal strips where fjords cut deep into the land, and the sea provides both sustenance and connection. Towns are not linked by roads, but by boats, planes, and sled routes, reinforcing a sense of isolation that has shaped Greenlandic society for centuries. In Greenland, distance is not measured in kilometers alone, but in weather, daylight, and survival conditions. This is a land where modern technology exists beside ancient knowledge, where smartphones share space with seal hunting traditions, and where global politics now look northward with increasing interest. To understand Greenland is to understand how geography dictates destiny, and how humans adapt not by conquering nature, but by learning to live within its limits. Greenland may seem remote, but its importance to the world has never been greater. As climate change accelerates, Greenland's ice sheet has become one of the most critical indicators of Earth's future. Every year, billions of tons of ice melt into the ocean, contributing to rising sea levels that threaten coastal cities thousands of kilometers away. What happens in Greenland does not stay in Greenland. Its glaciers are global storytellers, recording centuries of atmospheric history in layers of ice, while simultaneously acting as warning signals for humanity's impact on the planet. Beyond climate, Greenland has also emerged as a strategic prize in global geopolitics. Its location makes it vital for Arctic shipping routes, military positioning, and access to untapped natural resources, including rare earth minerals crucial for modern technologies like electric vehicles and renewable energy systems. Major powers watch Greenland closely, not because of what it is today, but because of what it may become tomorrow. Yet amid this growing global attention, Greenland's people face a complex challenge: how to balance economic opportunity with cultural preservation, environmental protection with development, and autonomy with external influence. Greenland is no longer just a frozen frontier. It is a mirror reflecting the world's ambitions, anxieties, and responsibilities. This journey through Greenland is not about ticking landmarks off a list or chasing postcard views, although beauty here is overwhelming and unavoidable. This is a documentary about understanding a place on its own terms. Travel in Greenland is slow, dictated by weather and light rather than schedules and convenience. The sun may not rise for months in winter, and in summer it may never set, reshaping human rhythms in ways few outsiders truly understand. Villages feel less like destinations and more like living conversations between people and their environment. Every building, every fishing boat, every path through snow exists for a reason rooted in survival. Greenland teaches travelers patience, humility, and attentiveness. It asks you to listen to the wind cutting across the tundra, to the cracking of icebergs carving into the sea, to the quiet resilience of communities that have thrived here for thousands of years. This documentary will move through Greenland's deep history, its vibrant culture, its breathtaking landscapes, and its fragile yet evolving economy. Not as separate chapters, but as interconnected threads of one enduring story. Because in Greenland, nothing exists in isolation, not the land, not the people, and certainly not the future. To truly understand Greenland as it exists today, we must travel backward, far beyond modern borders, colonial claims, and climate headlines, into a time when survival depended entirely on knowledge passed down through generations. Greenland's story begins long before it had a name recognizable to the outside world. Long before Europeans ever saw its shores, indigenous peoples mastered the Arctic environment with astonishing precision, reading ice, animals, and weather with an intimacy modern science still struggles to replicate. The land we see today carries the echoes of these first inhabitants, etched into hunting routes, oral traditions, and cultural memory. Greenland's history is not one of empires rising and falling in rapid succession, but of endurance through adaptation. Every wave of settlement, every moment of contact with the outside world reshaped Greenland in profound ways, sometimes violently, sometimes quietly, but always permanently. As we move into Greenland's ancient past, we begin to see how isolation forged strength, how nature shaped belief systems, and how survival itself became a cultural identity. Greenland's history is not just about what happened here. It is about how humanity learns to exist at the very edge of possibility, Long before Greenland appeared on European maps, long before it became a subject of climate science or geopolitical debate, it was already home to some of the most resilient humans to ever exist. The earliest inhabitants of Greenland arrived thousands of years ago, migrating eastward across the Arctic from what is now North America. These early Paleo-Inuit cultures, including the Sakak and later the Dorset people, followed animal migration patterns across frozen seas, navigating a landscape that offered no mercy to those who misunderstood it. Survival in Greenland was not about dominance over nature. It was about deep harmony with it. Every movement, tool, and shelter reflected a precise understanding of ice, wind, and wildlife. The land dictated life, and mistakes were fatal. Archaeological remains reveal a people who mastered stone tools, bone implements, and seasonal movement with astonishing efficiency. They lived in a world without metal, without written language, yet possessed knowledge refined over generations that allowed them to endure extreme cold, darkness, and scarcity. Greenland's earliest cultures vanished mysteriously, likely due to climate shifts or resource depletion, leaving behind traces that still surface from melting ice today, silent reminders that even the most adapted societies are vulnerable to environmental change. Around 1,000 years ago, the Thule people arrived in Greenland, ancestors of today's Inuit population, bringing with them revolutionary technologies that transformed Arctic survival. Unlike earlier cultures, the Thule mastered dog sleds, kayaks, and large hunting tools designed specifically for whales, an innovation that provided massive food and material resources. This marked the beginning of a cultural continuity that still defines Greenland today. Inuit society was built around cooperation, storytelling, and communal survival. Knowledge was passed orally, embedded in myths that explained weather patterns, animal behavior, and moral values essential for life in the Arctic. Spiritual beliefs were deeply intertwined with nature. Animals were not simply hunted, but respected as spiritual partners in survival. Every part of a seal or whale was used: meat for food, blubber for fuel, bones for tools, leaving no room for waste. Social structures emphasized sharing over accumulation, because hoarding in a harsh environment could threaten the entire community. Even today, Inuit identity remains inseparable from the land and sea, despite centuries of external influence. Greenland's modern culture is not a relic of the past. It is a living continuation of one of humanity's most successful adaptations to extreme conditions. While Inuit culture was flourishing, another chapter of Greenland's history unfolded from the south. Around the year 985, Norse settlers led by Eric the Red arrived from Iceland, establishing farming communities along Greenland's southwestern coast. They named the land Greenland, possibly as a marketing strategy to attract settlers, though the coastal fjords offered limited arable land during a warmer climatic period known as the medieval warm period. The Norse brought European agriculture, Christianity, and a worldview rooted in land ownership and trade with Europe. For centuries, Norse settlements survived by farming, hunting seals, and trading walrus ivory, a prized commodity in medieval Europe. Yet their existence was precarious. As the climate cooled during the Little Ice Age, crops failed, trade routes collapsed, and isolation deepened. Unlike the Inuit, the Norse struggled to adapt their way of life to harsher conditions. Their reluctance to adopt Inuit hunting methods, combined with environmental stress, ultimately led to their disappearance. By the 15th century, Norse Greenland was abandoned, leaving behind stone ruins that still dot the landscape. The collapse of the Norse settlements stands as one of history's most powerful lessons. Adaptability determines survival, not technological superiority. In Greenland, history is not only written in stone and ice, it is spoken, sung, and remembered through generations. Inuit oral traditions preserve centuries of experience, embedding practical survival lessons within myths and legends. Stories of sea spirits, tricksters, and animal guardians are not mere folklore. They are cultural frameworks that teach respect for nature, humility, and balance. The Arctic environment leaves little room for arrogance, and Inuit mythology reflects that reality. Shamans, known as Angakut, served as mediators between the physical and spiritual worlds, guiding communities through illness, conflict, and environmental uncertainty. These belief systems fostered resilience and social cohesion, reinforcing behaviors essential for survival. Even today, Greenlandic art, music, and storytelling draw heavily from these ancient traditions. Modern Greenlanders navigate smartphones and global media while still carrying ancestral narratives that define their identity. The ice itself is a storyteller, preserving tools, bones, and dwellings beneath its surface, only to reveal them centuries later as climate change accelerates melting. Greenland's past is not buried. It is resurfacing, reminding the world that history, like ice, can remain silent for millennia before demanding attention. As Greenland moved through centuries shaped by indigenous knowledge and Norse ambition, the arrival of European colonial powers would forever alter its trajectory. The age of exploration transformed Greenland from a distant frontier into a strategic asset, claimed, mapped, and controlled by outsiders with little understanding of its people or environment. These encounters reshaped governance, religion, economy, and identity in ways that still resonate today. Yet Greenland was never simply conquered in the traditional sense. Its geography resisted domination, its people adapted selectively, and its culture endured despite immense pressure. As we move into Greenland's colonial era, we begin to see the roots of modern Greenlandic society, its struggles for autonomy, its complex relationship with Denmark, and its ongoing journey towards self-determination. The story of Greenland is not one of disappearance, but of persistence. Against ice, empire, and time itself, Greenland continues to exist on its own terms. By the early 18th century, Greenland was no longer an isolated Arctic world known only to its indigenous inhabitants and the ghosts of vanished Norse settlers. It had become a target of European ambition, curiosity, and religious expansion. Denmark, Norway, formally reasserted its claim over Greenland in 1721, sending missionaries and traders under the banner of Christianity and commerce. This moment marked the beginning of colonial Greenland, a period that would fundamentally reshape the island's political structure, economy, and cultural identity. European missionaries sought not only to convert Inuit populations to Christianity, but also to reorganize their social systems, replacing indigenous belief structures with European norms. Trade monopolies were established, controlling access to goods and reshaping Greenland's economy around European demand. Seal oil, whale products, and furs became commodities rather than lifelines. While Danish rule was often framed as protective rather than exploitative, it imposed strict controls that limited Greenlandic autonomy for centuries. Greenland was effectively cut off from the rest of the world, not by ice, but by policy. This isolation slowed modernization, but preserved aspects of Inuit culture that might otherwise have been erased entirely. Colonial Greenland existed in a paradox, shielded from some global disruptions, yet denied the right to determine its own future. The arrival of Christianity marked one of the most profound cultural shifts in Greenlandic history. Missionaries translated religious texts into Greenlandic, inadvertently preserving the language in written form, while simultaneously undermining traditional spiritual systems. Schools were established to educate Inuit children, often prioritizing religious instruction over practical Arctic survival knowledge. Over time, Christian values became embedded in daily life, altering family structures, moral codes, and community leadership. Yet Inuit culture did not disappear. It adapted. Traditional beliefs merged with Christian practices, creating a unique spiritual landscape that still exists today. Greenlandic hymns, for example, often carry emotional depth rooted in older storytelling traditions. Education brought literacy and new opportunities, but it also introduced hierarchy and dependence on Danish systems. As Greenlandic society transitioned from nomadic hunting to settled communities, cultural loss became an unavoidable consequence. Languages shifted, traditions weakened, and external authority grew stronger. Still, Greenlanders retained something essential: the ability to absorb change without losing their core identity. The transformation of culture under colonial rule was neither total nor passive. It was negotiated daily in homes, schools, and communities across the island. For centuries, Greenland's economy functioned under a strict Danish trade monopoly that controlled prices, production, and access to foreign markets. While this system protected Greenland from exploitative private traders, it also prevented economic independence and innovation. Greenlanders were encouraged to produce goods that benefited Danish interests rather than their own long-term development. Fishing, hunting, and later mining were tightly regulated, ensuring profits flowed outward rather than staying within local communities. The monopoly limited exposure to global markets, leaving Greenland economically dependent on Denmark for food imports, manufactured goods, and administrative support. This dependency created stability but stifled growth. Infrastructure development was slow, industrialization minimal, and entrepreneurial opportunities scarce. The trade monopoly reinforced a paternalistic relationship in which Denmark positioned itself as guardian rather than partner. Over time, this economic structure shaped Greenland's modern challenges: high living costs, limited employment diversity, and reliance on government subsidies. Yet, it also prevented the kind of rapid industrial exploitation seen in other colonized regions. Greenland's environment remained relatively intact, preserved by policy rather than intention. The legacy of the trade monopoly still influences Greenland's economic debates today, especially as the island weighs independence against financial security. World War II marked a dramatic turning point in Greenland's relationship with the outside world. When Denmark was occupied by Nazi Germany in 1940, Greenland was suddenly cut off from its colonial ruler. The United States stepped in, establishing military bases to protect North Atlantic shipping routes and prevent German expansion into the Arctic. For the first time, Greenland engaged directly with a global superpower, bypassing Denmark entirely. This period accelerated modernization. Airstrips, weather stations, and infrastructure appeared almost overnight. Greenlanders experienced new technologies, wages, and exposure to foreign cultures. After the war, Greenland could no longer return to complete isolation. The island's strategic importance was now undeniable, setting the stage for future geopolitical interest. In 1953, Greenland's status changed from colony to an official part of the Kingdom of Denmark, granting Greenlanders Danish citizenship. While this move promised equality, it also intensified assimilation efforts, pushing Danish language, education, and social norms. The seeds of Greenlandic political awakening were planted during this era, as people began questioning whether integration truly served their interests or merely rebranded colonial control. The post-war decades ignited a cultural and political awakening across Greenland. As modernization accelerated, so did resistance to cultural erasure. Greenlanders began reclaiming their language, traditions, and political voice. In 1979, Greenland achieved home rule, gaining control over many domestic affairs, while Denmark retained authority over defense and foreign policy. This was not independence, but it was a powerful assertion of identity. Greenlandic became the official language, cultural pride surged, and policies increasingly reflected local values. In 2009, Greenland expanded its autonomy further through self-government, granting control over natural resources and judicial matters. These milestones marked Greenland's transformation from a controlled territory into a self-aware political entity. Yet challenges remained: economic dependence, social inequality, and the pressures of globalization. Greenland's journey towards self-determination is ongoing, shaped by history, but focused on the future. The colonial era left scars, but it also forged resilience. Greenland emerged not as a broken society, but as one redefining itself on its own terms,